Hello everyone, I am Durga Saujanya, Assistant Professor, ECE Department, MLR Institute of Technology. I am going to give the video lecture for the subject Embedded System Design. Our today's topic was memory, in that memory, RAM. So this comes under second unit. Here in previous session, we have discussed the memory, what is meant by memory, how can we use memory in our embedded system design, what are different types of memories available for our design. So in those memories, we have discussed the read-only memory, which is ROM, and different types of ROM, which are masked ROM, programmable ROM, EEPROM, and EEPROM. And in previous session, we have discussed all these topics. So if you want to learn about these topics, please visit the previous video lecture. And now in today's session, we are going to discuss about RAM and the types of RAM. So what is RAM? So what are the different types of RAM? So what is the comparison between those types? And how can we use this RAM in our embedded system design? So next, go to today's video session. So here this is already discussed in the last session. So in this memory, so we have completed the read-only memory in the last session. In today's session, we are going to discuss about the read and write memory or random access memory. So both are same. Next one is RAM, read and write memory or random access memory. Here this RAM is nothing but it is used for both reading purpose and writing purpose. In read-only memory, we have seen that memory will be used only for read-only purpose. So once the program or the data which is entered into the memory, it cannot be modified or accessed. So it can be read only to the user. But here in random access memory, it can be accessed by any user. It can be used by any user. The data in this memory can be modified in any number of times. So here this is the data memory or working memory of the controller or processor. So that's why the read-only memory can be used for storing program, and hence it is called as program memory. Here this RAM, random access memory, is used for storing the data which is used for our design or our programs. So hence it is called as data memory used in the embedded system design. So this may be on chip or off chip. So if the processor contains the memory of some contents, that means some memory of some 128 bytes or 1 GB or 5 MB. So some part of the memory will be available in the chip itself with the processor, with the controller itself. So that is called as on-chip memory. So if for our application, if the on-chip memory is not sufficient, then we will go for off-chip memory, or we have to connect the external memory for our controller. So here it is a volatile. That means whenever the power is turned off, the contents are destroyed. So this random access memory, it is used for modifying any number of time. It can be accessed by any user. So and it is the main property of this RAM is it is a volatile memory. Volatile memory is nothing but whenever the power is turned off, whatever the data we have stored in that memory will be erased or will be destroyed. So it is a direct access memory. So that means it can be accessed directly without any entering into the any location. So here we can access the desired memory location directly without the need for traversing through entire memory location to reach the desired memory position. So we can access memory directly without seeing in the memory locations one by one, and we need not to go to that entire desired location by going from first location to the last location or for the desired location. So here we can access directly any location in the memory. So So in this, there are two types are there in the RAM. One is static RAM and another one is dynamic RAM. Here the first one is static RAM. Static RAM, it stores the data in the form of voltage. So it can be made up of flip-flops. So there are two different types are there. One is static RAM, another one is dynamic RAM. So these two are differentiated with respect to the circuits used for storing the data. Here we have used the flip-flops which are made by the transistors. So how can we design the flip-flops? Flip-flops can be designed using the transistors. So basically the transistors are used for designing the SRAM. So in the typical implementation, the SRAM cell is realized using the 6 transistors. So 4 transistors are used for building the latch and 2 transistors are used for controlling the access. So here the 4 transistors are used for designing the latch or flip-flops, for designing the flip-flops, and 2 transistors are used for providing the control signals or providing the access for the control. So here it is the fastest RAM because it can use only transistors and resistors in this circuit. So whether we know that the transistor operates very fastly, it can be used for either on and off purpose, and it is used to store the data, and whenever the power is on, it can simply store the data whatever we have given at the input. So it is the fastest memory of the RAM, and its resistive networking and switching capabilities make it faster. Second type is dynamic RAM. So dynamic RAM, it stores the data in the form of charge. So we have seen that the static RAM stores the data in the form of voltages. So that's why we have used the transistors and flip-flops. But here the dynamic RAM stores the data in the form of charge. So what are the elements we have for storing the charge? So we have capacitors. So that for preparing the dynamic RAM, we have used the capacitors for store the charge. So that can store our data in the form of charge. So they are made up of MOS transistor gates which are used for enabling the capacitances. So the advantage of dynamic RAM is its high density and low cost compared with SRAM. So the disadvantage is it can store the value in the form of charge in the capacitors. So it may be a possibility for leak off with time, and it should be refreshed periodically. So as we know that whenever the power is given to the capacitor, so it can be charged to the maximum level, and whenever the maximum level reaches, again it is discharged to the 0 volts. So that means again whenever some voltage or some energy is given to the capacitor, again it starts charging and again it starts discharging. So that means for every interval we need to refresh the circuit for charging and discharging. So that's why it needs refreshed periodically, and hence it may be a chance for leaked off the charge with respect to time, and it is slow because of this charging and discharging phenomena. So the circuits used in DRAM operate slowly so that the storage of the memory required, the time required for storing the memory data into this memory will be very slower. The special circuits called DRAM controllers are used for refreshing operation. So here the refreshing operation is done periodically in milliseconds interval. Here when comparing with the SRAM, so the components required for DRAM are very less, which are capacitors which are very less in size also. But here we need to have the refreshing circuits. So that makes the SRAM memory, the DRAM memory slower compared with the SRAM memory. And now we will go to see the comparison between SRAM and DRAM. So this is the comparison between SRAM and DRAM. Here the SRAM is made up of 6 transistors. We can use 6 CMOS transistors for made the SRAM memory. Here the DRAM memory can be made with capacitors. It does not require refreshing as transistors operate frequently. So whenever we can give the power supply, the transistor starts its operation. So there is no need of refreshing circuit. Here it requires refreshing because the capacitor needs some time to charge, and after that it will be discharged, so that it needs refreshing circuit at every interval. So here the capacity will be very low, and here we have the high capacity, and it is more expensive because the transistors are costlier compared with the capacitors. So it is very less expensive because of the capacitors. This is fast in operation. The typical access time is 10 nanoseconds. It is slow in operation because it requires the refresh requirements. So the typical access time is 60 nanoseconds. The write operation is faster than the read operation in the DRAM. Here we need to discuss one more point regarding RAM. So in read-only memory ROM, so we can do only read operation. But in random access memory RAM, so we can do write or read operations, and it can be accessed by any user. And we have one more type of RAM available for our embedded design, which is non-volatile RAM. So non-volatile RAM is nothing but, we already discussed that the RAMs are volatile memories. So that means whenever the power is off, so the data which is stored in that RAM will be destroyed. But here we have one type of RAM which is non-volatile RAM. It can be having battery backup. So whenever the power is off also, the contents in this memory are not destroyed. So the random access memory with battery backup is known as non-volatile RAM. So it contains static RAM based memory and a minute battery for providing supply to the memory in the absence of external power supply. Here we can use some battery for providing backup to the RAM, so to save the contents which are present in that memory during power off. So here the memory and the battery are packaged together in a single package. The non-volatile memory is used for storing the results of operations or for setting up of flags. The lifespan of non-volatile RAMs are around 10 years. So DS1744 from Maxim or Delos is an example for non-volatile RAM. So these are the various types of RAMs available for our embedded system design. So while going to the conclusion, here we can discuss the summary of previous session. In that we have discussed what is RAM and the types of ROM, PROM, masked ROM, programmable ROM, erasable programmable ROM, and EEPROM, like that, and flash memory. And here we can recollect what are the types of memory available, and in that we have already previously discussed the ROM in previous session. Now we are going to discuss about the RAM, random access memory. So what is random access memory? What are the different types of random access memory, and how can we make these two circuits, these two memories, and what is the comparison between these two memories, which one is faster and which circuit will be complex, and we have seen the configuration of the memory and all the things, and another type of memory which is non-volatile RAM. So these are for the present video session. We will discuss the next topics in the next video session. Thank you.